Well, whether our response is to obey or disobey, we are exercising a powerful gift that the Lord has given us called choice. That to me is the ultimate expression of God's love for me. And as we mentioned at the close of the last segment, my ultimate expression of love back to the Lord is to choose that obedience.
You know, if it were up to us and we were in the position that God was there in the garden, we would have put some sort of punishment on Adam and Eve that they couldn't recover from. You know, and it's just amazing. And yet God reaches out to us in kindness and love, and in the midst of our deciding not to follow Him, and so we begin to realize that His invitation to us is not based on whether we deserve it or not. It's based on His unbelievable love. So in John chapter 8, verse 31 to 36, you know, Jesus here, as He's interacting with the disciples and others, I think He has some things to say to us here. So let's read this passage, if you will. John 8:31. So Jesus was saying to those Jews who had believed Him, so these were the ones that He was beginning to gather, if you abide in my word, then you're truly disciples of mine. Notice the condition He puts on them. If you abide. And I looked that word up. It's more than just continuing. It's more than just following afar. It is choosing to embrace, to take God seriously.
It's not passive.
No,
it's not passive. It's like
active.
Joshua.
Yeah.
Choosing.
Yeah, choose. I'm choosing this day. And so, and then he goes on, verse 32, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. I continue to marvel at how God continues to put up with me in this whole area of believing how powerful His Word is. I mean, the truth will set you free. That's what He says here. And this is His truth. And you begin to, so they answered Him, hey guys, we're Abraham's descendants and have never yet been enslaved to anyone. Sure, that's my answer to that. But He says, how is it that you say you will become free? I mean, God had really whetted their appetite here. Jesus had shown them, hey, you guys are missing out on something that I'm trying to get you to understand. Jesus answered them, truly, truly I say to you, everyone who commits sin is the slave of sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son does remain forever. So then verse 36, the cap of this. So if the Son makes you free, you'll be free indeed. Wow. So guys, right up front here, Jesus confronts us and says, as He did to the Jews who were following Him, it's not enough to know the truth. It's not enough to just intellectually assent to something or to even say, well, okay, I believe that. It involves abiding. It involves action, as you're saying, Cheryl. It involves our response. And it's doing something about what we hear. So when James talks about the fact that you say you have faith, show me, I think James clearly understood what Jesus is saying here. A second point is God wants us free. How many people that I've talked to over the years who have a perspective of God that if I follow God, then I'm not going to have any fun anymore. It's going to be totally causing borders and obstacles in my life, instead of realizing, no, God wants us to really be free. That's why he gives this promise to us. He wants us to be free. And in verse chapter 14 of John, verse 27. Let me, I've got that written down here. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful. How many times have we let fear keep us from doing what God is showing us to do and what we know we need to be doing?
Now that's a meddling question.
It is. But yet, what God says, I want to give you complete freedom, but I want you to also have my peace in the middle of walking out that freedom. And so freedom is not licensed to do whatever you want to do. It's freedom to follow God. And Jesus says it was for freedom that he set us free. And that he gives us a peace that the world doesn't know. You know, it's like, guys, look to me, I'm the one that's going to give you the peace. So it's not just obedience for obedience sake. We're to know the Father's heart. And as we know his heart, we'll realize, wow, Lord, this may appear to cost me an unbelievable amount, but Lord, it's worth it to follow you, both now and for eternity. This, as you say, Cheryl, this is not just temporarily or whatever. It's for a lifetime. It's for an eternity in our lives.
Yes. Wow. You know, we're just wrapping up PLL class. Matter of fact, I finished the class right before I came here for this videotaping. And we celebrate in our last class. And over again, what I was hearing from the participants is one of the big things that happened for them is, I'm freer than I ever thought was possible.
Wow.
The bonds of slavery that the descendants of Abraham did not know that they were in were breaking right and left. And so in the next segment, we're going to talk about this freedom that we have, which is in the New Testament called the believer's rest. But I want to close with a quick story in this segment. I had a friend who was in a very distressed state, and I asked him in his moment of torment, how much would peace be worth to him? And he said it would be worth his life. Can you imagine that? And that's what Jesus did. Jesus gave his life so that in this life we could experience that freedom and peace. So our next video segment is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the believer's rest, following in line from the Old Testament into the New Testament, and Denton is going to help us to uncover that going forward.